Forced to sleep with his abuser. 10 out of 10 wife. She's a keeper. Coming in at number 4 is proof that Lois will always stand on the wrong side of history in an episode that creepily predicted the future, Hot Shots. Before we jump into Lois's terrible decision making, let's take a look at Peter's. Everyone knows how the Joker deals with a bat problem, but Peter's method, well, let's just say it's even more chaotic than the villain's. Surprisingly, his gun on a toy copter doesn't work, so he takes out a tennis racket and goes on a path of destruction, accidentally hitting Stewie in the process. Bat 1, Stewie 0. When they get Stewie checked out of the hospital, Dr. Hartman reveals that Stewie never had his childhood vaccinations, but hey, mistakes can be fixed. And this is totally something they're gonna fix, right? To their credit, like the good parents they can be, Peter and Lois first read up on the side effects of vaccinations. But this results in them finding an article suggesting a link between autism and vaccinations. You're probably wondering who this trusted information came from. None other than world-renowned... Wait, am I reading this right? Former Playboy bunny Jenny McCarthy? Oh, this ought to be good. But choosing not to vaccinate isn't enough as they go about convincing every other parent to do the same, through anti-vax rallies at the park and even a harmful PSA.
Vaccinations cause autism, paralysis, and even death.
The parents managed to convince most of the town against vaccinating their babies, and wouldn't you know it, a measles outbreak in Stewie's daycare leads to Quahog being placed in a town-wide lockdown. Is anyone else getting intense 2021 flashbacks right about now? Surprise, surprise, Lois has a change of heart now that the risk of Stewie getting sick is even higher, and tries to go and get Stewie vaccinated. But remember how I mentioned the Joker earlier? Yeah, so Peter may not have dealt with the bat like Heath Ledger did, but he did destroy the hospital containing the town's last vaccines just like him. Peter gets a taste of his own medicine, not literal medicine, but he does get the measles. When Rupert gets sick too, don't ask about the logistics of that one, it's too complicated to explain. Stewie runs away from home worrying that he's next on the list, but there's still the issue of the lockdown that's putting a stop to his plan of leaving Quahog. Like he's the king of the monkey bars, Stewie swings under the bridge to try and cross the river, but an upside down train forces him to lose his grip. Again, please don't ask me to explain the logistics. I have tried, I do not know. Lois can only watch on in fear as Stewie plummets towards the river, but luck is on her side as Stewie is swept up into the arms of a skydiving Sean Penn. Boy, this episode really has it all. The Oscar winner was in the right place at the right time, delivering vaccinations to Quahog. And even though he saved Stewie's life, Lois still has the audacity to not thank him because he once played a homosexual. He offers her the vaccines and calls her out for her original stance on the health crisis.
Great, just what I needed, a lecture from liberal Hollywood.
It's called gratitude, Lois. Try it sometime. As the episode wraps up with quarantine lifted and everyone's safe, Lois... Wait, what was that?
And only 150 people died, but not anyone we knew personally.
Everyone wasn't safe? Well, that's fantastic, Lois. Your rallies and lies and inability to understand science only cost 150 people their lives. As long as you didn't know them personally. Right? For number 3, we have Prescription Heroin, an episode titled after what I needed to get through this 20-minute piece of crap. The problems of this episode start pretty early on when Brian falls down the stairs in a rush to meet the delivery guy. Lois rushes to help him and finds him almost knocked out with bones bending in ways they shouldn't. Now I'm no vet, but even I know that's not good. Of course, Lois has to go through an entire Google deep dive before reaching the conclusion that maybe going to the vet is a good idea. The professional verdict is that Brian has a broken arm and needs to be on prescription heroin for the pain, and Brian's living his best life on it.
Oh yeah.
Lois decides she needs a of her own. Peter's clearly not satisfying her, so she takes half a pill. Now this must be some seriously strong stuff, or she's just a lightweight, because the half a pill has her tripping hard. Side note, who the hell hallucinates Chris Daughtry when they're high? Anyway, this trip is enough to start Lois's journey through addiction. Before I start to rip into Lois too hard, I will give her credit for this one scene that gave us the greatest meme of 2022. Alright, that's enough praise for this woman. Bottle of wine at the ready, she goes to take the last pill, but Brian beats her to it. I mean, they're literally his pain meds, and Lois is still angry that he's had the last one. She's not willing to give up though, and goes to the only place she thinks she knows to find drugs. Underneath high school bleachers. Yeah, so that plan obviously doesn't work out. So the next logical step in finding the final pill is to leave Stewie in an empty tub and get on hands and knees so she can...
Tara reads around the bathroom.
It's one of her more shameful moments, but she's not done. She does find one more pill but gets cocky and tries to fling it into her mouth only for it to bounce off and land in the toilet. Since her hand is apparently too big, a flimsy excuse, if you ask me, Lois uses Stewie as a human grapple claw and shoves him into the water. The show's been running for 22 seasons, but it's worth noting that Stewie is still only 1 year old. Lois. It's usually a toss-up between Brian and Lois for who's going to be least likable each week, but Lois makes it an easy win for the dog this episode. He pushes her away just in time before she would have drowned her son. Hey, can we get this woman a Dateline episode, please? She's not the smartest and she's clearly strung out, so convincing Lois that the final pill is in his cage is an easy enough job for Brian. Like there wasn't already enough she's done wrong this episode, Lois tries to get her son's attention by using one of his own jokes.
Stewie? Stewie? Stew.
Noise canceling on.
I don't know, is it just me or is the delivery just off? By the by, Stewie does what we all wish we could do when she has lines on the show and cancels her voice out. And so come the withdrawal symptoms, hallucinations of expired coupons, dreams of past traumas, and judgment from the Kryptonian Council. But Lois comes out on the other side looking more like herself than she had all episode. It might not seem like it, but I can give Lois credit where credit's due. She does thank Brian for all he did for her and beats the addiction. I mean, it was forced, but she does it at least. She's not going to use the drugs again, let's hope, but she's still going to chase the euphoric feeling.
Alexa, play music that sounds like I'm on drugs.
The episode ends and leaves me with only one question. Where on earth is Stewie's apology for almost drowning him? For the number 2 spot, I have to include Lois's behavior in the first Noel. Lois has always had a problem with Christmas and the stress that it brings, even though she mostly brings it on herself, and this Family Guy Christmas special was no different. You don't even make it to the minute mark in the episode before Lois makes her way down the stairs with all the holiday decorations, swearing on each step. Classy as ever, Lois. But this year, Lois has come in with a plan. Divide and conquer. Split the jobs between each family member, everyone contributes a little, Christmas goes off without a hitch, foolproof plan, nothing could go wrong, right?
You know the deal around here. We split everything 0-100 like most couples.
Okay, so maybe step 1 of the plan failed, and maybe, just maybe, this isn't Lois's fault. But she manages to at least get them all out of the house and Christmas shopping, only they forget the shopping part of the task. This proves to be Lois's final straw. 19 seasons of pent-up holiday anger, and she finally breaks, telling the family that she's going to take her cousin up on the offer to join her in Cabo for the holiday, alone. It's probably a much easier way to teach them a lesson about helping out than ruining their Christmas by leaving, but this is Lois. Is she ever not dramatic? So she makes it to her motel in the snowy mountains of Cabo. Wait, pause the video. Snowy? I'm about 99% sure that Mexico City isn't known